Now in this video I'm going to show you how to change the carbon filter. Now remember, the most important thing is you change the carbon filter either every time you change the DI resin or every second time. It's just fine to do it every second time, but you have to remember and don't let it go to every third or fourth time. So if you're not quite sure, then change the carbon filter every time you change the DI resin. Yeah, because the carbon filter protects the DI resin from chlorine in the water, and depending on how much chlorine in your taps in your town supply, right, will determine how much the carbon filter can protect your system. Yeah, so let's have a look. Now, the time to change your carbon filter is actually when you're changing the DI resin tank. And the true story is that you can change the DI resin twice for every carbon filter. I'm just going to take that O-ring out and put it there to keep it safe. And that one's stuck in there. So we'll take the DI resin tank out. Now, we'd be taking this out and it'd be full of water and resin. And you can watch the other video called Changing Your DI Resin. That'll give you the how to change the DI resin. But at the same time as you do that, or every second time you do that, if you can make sure that you remember, you would change the carbon filter. So that's sitting underneath this label here. The filter is in a standard housing, and again it's normally done up hand tight, but the system comes with a tool, so you can easily just grab the tool and give it a nudge until it's loose. Remember, it'll be full of water, yeah? So you want your hand underneath. As you undo the thread, hold the carbon filter, pull it out like this. Yep, and then there you have it. Now you'd then take this out. Quite often there's no discoloration at all on the carbon filter because the sediment filter has captured all of the carbon. But the carbon filter actually also is 5 microns, so it acts as a backup to the sediment filter in the event that something goes wrong and you get a massive dose of algae or something like that rushing through the pipes. So you would take out the carbon filter and then you'd put in a new carbon filter. Now remember, the carbon filters come wrapped in plastic, but you'd take the plastic off. When you do take the plastic off, I'll just point out one thing to you. Sometimes these washers here come adrift, and it's really important. You can see there the bite that's happening at the bottom of the vessel. It's really important that you don't lose these. So just always double check that you've got the washer at the top and the washer at the bottom and that they're sitting in that housing the way they're meant to be. Then you'd put this system back together, you'd locate it centrally in the bottom, and then also I'm just going to point out that this is leak free because there's a washer sitting around in there. Now occasionally you can put some silicone lube. Don't use a petrol-based lubricant. You use a silicone-based lubricant because the petrol will decay the rubber, and so you put that in there and then that'll hold that so that it's drip-free later. And then we can just put it back into the system, locate it on the thread, oopsie daisy, locate it on the thread, do it up hand tight, but if you wish, again, you can just use the tool and just give it the tiniest little nudge so that you know that it's going to be drip free. And there it is. That's the carbon filter changed. Now, of course, in order to make the system work, we're going to put the tank the DI tank back into the system and then reconnect, and of course don't forget your washer and reconnect. But it's more important, the reason you're changing the carbon filter is because you're changing the resin in here, and the video you need to watch at the same time as this is the changing the DI resin in your DI tank.